Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night because the power went out, your phone sitting at just 4%, and the only thought running through your head is, how long is it going to last this time? I have, more than once. The fridge starts making that strange humming noise. The food in the freezer begins to thaw, and your kids are too scared to even leave their room. You're just sitting there in the dark, completely powerless, hoping the lights will come back on before everything goes bad. That feeling isn't just annoying, it makes you realize how little control you actually have. And then you go online looking for solutions, and you see those portable power stations priced at $800, $1,000, even $2,000. You start asking yourself, isn't there a simpler, cheaper way? Something I could actually build myself? That question kept coming back to me, and slowly, an idea began to form. I didn't need a massive system to power the whole house. I just needed something smaller and simpler. A cart I could move around, powered by the sun, and capable of charging phones and running lights during an outage. Most importantly, something that wouldn't cost more than a fraction of what commercial power stations sell for. Before getting into the build, let me show you exactly what parts I used. I kept everything basic and easy to find. Here's what went into the cart. A 100-watt solar panel, not too big, just enough to charge the battery during the day. A 12-volt 50 lead-acid battery, affordable and reliable for this kind of project. A basic PWM Charge Controller. This acts as the brain that protects the battery from overcharging. A small fuse box, and fuse's safety always comes first. A couple of USB charging ports and a small LED light strip, and a cheap voltmeter so I could monitor the battery status at any time. All of these parts together stayed well within my budget. I bought most of them from Amazon, and the battery from a local auto parts store. Nothing special, nothing hard to source. With the parts decided, I was ready to start building. The first thing I did was take an old utility cart I had in the garage. I placed the solar panel on top to see how it would fit, marked the spots, and began attaching simple brackets to hold it securely. This part was mostly mechanical, no wiring yet. I just needed to make sure the panel was mounted solidly so it wouldn't move around when I pushed the cart. You might be wondering if mounting the panel permanently is really necessary. You could technically just lean it against something when you need power, but having it fixed on the cart makes the whole system truly mobile. I can roll it out into the sun anytime without any extra setup. That was one of the main reasons I wanted to build it this way. After mounting the panel, I stepped back and looked at what I had so far. An old cart with a solar panel on top. It was still early, but I already felt like I was moving from being helpless during blackouts to actually creating something useful. With the parts ready and the solar panel mounted on the cart, it was time to move on to the electrical work. I was excited to finally start connecting everything, but I was also a little nervous because this turned out to be the part where I made my first real mistake. I began connecting the wires from the solar panel to the charge controller, and then from the controller to the battery. I thought I was being careful, but when I checked the system the next morning, nothing was happening. The voltmeter showed no change, and the battery wasn't charging at all. It turned out, I had reversed the positive and negative wires on the charge controller. It was a simple mistake, but it completely stopped the system from working. The controller has clear markings, but because I was rushing, I didn't double-check before connecting everything. Once I realized the problem, I swapped the wires around, tightened all the connections, and added fuses on both the solar input and battery output for safety. After fixing it, the charge controller's indicator light finally turned on, and I could see power starting to flow into the battery. With the main power path working, I moved on to adding the output components. I installed 2 USB charging ports and a small LED light strip directly onto the cart. I also mounted the voltmeter in a visible location, so I could easily check the battery level whenever I wanted. Everything was routed through a small fuse box, allowing me to turn the outputs on or off as needed. At this stage, the cart was finally starting to feel complete. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional. More importantly, I had learned a practical lesson. Always double-check your wiring before powering anything on. That one mistake taught me more than just reading instructions ever could. After fixing the wiring issue in the previous step, I was feeling pretty confident. The charge controller light was on, power seemed to be flowing, and I thought the hard part was over. I let the system sit in the sun for a few hours and came back expecting to see the battery nicely charged. But when I checked the voltmeter, nothing had changed. The battery voltage was exactly the same as before. At first, I thought maybe the sun wasn't strong enough that day. So I waited longer, moved the cart to a better spot, and checked again. Still nothing. That's when I started to worry. I had already fixed one wiring mistake, but now it looked like the system still wasn't working. I began checking every connection again. Everything looked tight. The solar panel was getting sunlight. The charge controller was powered on, but the battery just wasn't charging. After some troubleshooting, I finally found the problem. The charge controller was set to the wrong battery type. I was using a lead-acid battery, but the controller was set to lithium by default. Because of that, it wasn't sending the right charging voltage to the battery. It was a small setting, but it made a huge difference. I went into the controller's menu, changed the setting to lead-acid, and saved it. Then I waited and checked the voltmeter again. This time, the voltage was slowly going up. The battery was finally charging. Once that was fixed, I spent some time testing the outputs. I plugged in my phone to the USB ports and turned on the LED lights. Everything worked. I also pushed the cart around the yard to make sure nothing came loose. It felt good to finally see the system doing what it was supposed to do. That moment taught me something important. Even after you think you've fixed the main issues, there can still be small settings or details that stop everything from working. Taking the time to troubleshoot properly made all the difference. After everything was finally working, I wanted to see what this cart could really do in a real situation. So I decided to test it like an actual blackout. I turned off all the lights in the house, unplugged everything from the wall, and relied only on the solar cart for power. I pushed the cart outside into the sunlight, waited a bit, and then started using it. I charged my phone through the USB port, turned on the LED lights, and checked the voltmeter to see how the battery was holding up. Everything worked smoothly. The lights were bright, the phone was charging normally, and I could clearly see the battery level on the voltmeter. It felt surprisingly good to have a working power source that I built myself. I didn't need to run a noisy generator or worry about running out of gas. The cart was quiet, clean, and I could move it wherever I needed light or power. Looking back at the whole process, I realized a few important things. First, building a solar power cart doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. With basic parts and a little patience, it's something most people can do. Second, mistakes are going to happen. I made more than one, but each mistake taught me something useful. And third, having even a small backup power source gives you a surprising amount of peace of mind during an outage. If you've ever felt helpless during a blackout, or if you've been thinking about building something like this but felt it was too difficult, I hope this video showed you that it's more achievable than you think. You don't need to be an expert, you just need to start. If you decide to build your own solar cart, I'd love to hear about it. Tell me in the comments what you would use it for, whether it's for camping, gardening, or just having backup power at home. And if this video helped you, don't forget to like and subscribe for more practical DIY projects like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.